Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to introduce you to the finalists of the 1990. You are the only left-hander. What do you feel your chances are bowling against all the other right-handers?
Well, it's a very talented field tonight, and it's going to be tough to try to go all the way up through it to the top.
I believe this is your highest finish in the Akron Open so far?
No, I finished 5th the first year that they ran the tournament.
Okay, very good. So you are an experienced player. You've played here before, so we expect a lot from you being the only left-hander.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. That's Bob Fitt, our 4th round finisher. Now, Billy Gaume, he's in 3rd place finish. He is the oldest player. I'm sorry, Billy, I had to say that. But he also has the most experience out of anybody, too. So, Billy, what are your thoughts on today's round?
Oh, I think there'll be good matches. All the players are experienced players, and I think we were really in for a good show.
Well, you've bowled against some really great bowlers in the past. You've bowled against a lot of the senior bowlers on the tour, Carmen Salvino and all those players. Do you think you'll have any difficulty with the players this year? I mean, will they be psyching you out? Do you think they'll have the experience to compete?
Oh, I don't think there'll be a psych going on out there. It's just, everybody get out there and play your best game, and that stuff doesn't really get into effect too much.
Okay, well, good luck to you, Billy. We'll see you in our 2nd match. In our 2nd place finisher, he's one of Akron Open's perennial players. This is his 8th time, I believe, Jimmy Mitchell from Akron.
Yeah, this is the 8th tournament. I finished 9th one year, but, I like sitting up there in the booth with you guys. I have more fun talking about the tournament instead of bowling in it.
Well, Jimmy, this is your highest finish, and I know you've been in this position before. Now, you did bowl on the tour for a while. I remember. I was there. Do you feel any pressure or anything on you at this point?
No, not really, Ted. I feel more relaxed. Once I'm in the top 5, I'm relaxed. Getting to the top 5, it was very nerve-wracking, but now that I'm here, it's just, what's the worst I can finish? 3rd, so, just take whatever happens and go with it.
You're right. That final round today, the final game, was quite of
it was so nerve-wracking.
It was amazing, right. Well, good luck to you, Jimmy. We hope you do well in the finals. That was Jimmy Mitchell, our 2nd finisher in the Akron Open at this point. Now we'll take you to our tournament leader, Mr. Bill Packey. Bill Packey is 22 years old. He is the youngest champion, in the finals. Billy, this is your first time here bowling in the finals, and you have an awful lot of experienced players coming at you. How do you feel about that?
Yes, they are very experienced. I'm just going to put that behind me and just try my best.
Well, I'm sure that's all you can do. You, from what I see, you throw the strongest ball in the finish. Do you think that's to your advantage?
Yes, it is. I just hope to do well.
Okay, well, we expect a lot from you, so good luck.
All right, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Packey, our tournament leader. And that's the final 5 players in the Akron Open Championship. Gary Rebelott, 105 in the 5th, up in the 6th frame. And like the true champion he is, he comes back with another strike.
He sure did. I think the fans ought to know that Gary did have a little bit of trouble his last 6 games. He only shot 80 over, and he was leading the tournament at that time, so he had a little bit of trouble there at the end, and it might be going over for him here in the finals.
Bob Fitt is a PBA member, and he has won one PBA title in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Oh, the solid 7. You just can't throw it much better than that.
Leaving a solid 7 after 5 in a row.
With the 4-pin going around the 7-pin, Ted. So that was a very good shot, but it's the kind of break that Gary Rebelott was praying for, I believe.
Well, I guess you can throw them good, but you don't always get them. Bob Fitt going cross alley to make the 7-pin.
And a very nice spare.
Covers it like the champion. Bob Fitt bowls for the Fairlawn team in the Akron Budweiser League, as does Bill Packey, our tournament leader. So they've been well represented here from Fairlawn Lane.
Yes, they have.
Bob Fitt up on lane 21 in the 7th frame, working on a spare, 139 in the 5th with a spare up in the 6th.
Well, he's kept the pressure on right now. It's a 34-pin lead at this point, and Gary Rebelott is on a strike, so he's going to have to strike right here, Ted. He's not going to. He really can't afford to wait any longer.
Gary's working on a strike, needs this strike to cut the lead to 24 pins with only 4 frames left, so yeah, he's got to get on his horse right now and start doing some bowling.
Oh, a big shot right there. He still puts the pressure on Bob Fitt. He can strike out, Ted, for 255. And of course, Bob Fitt is going at a 279 pace, but he's only shooting 239 right now. So Gary Rebelott is still in the match.
Well, I believe he throws this strike. He will make some action out of this match. Gary Rebelott, 7 times Canton Bowler of the Year. So we know he can play. We've seen him last year on the same telecast.
Very nice.
Carries a 10-10.
Well, you know, Gary Rebelott can bowl. You know, in the finals last year when he won the Akron Open title, he averaged over 255 for his 4 games to win the championship. So if he strikes out, it just so happens he can shoot 255 again, Ted. But if Bob can still strike here, that just might not be enough in this year's finals.
Bob Fitt up in the 8th frame, working with a strike in the 7th. Trying to make it 2 in a row.
Oh, he's left the 6-pin here, and he still has left an opening for Gary Rebelott.
Goes a little high. Do you think maybe Ron, he might have made an adjustment off that last spare he made? He left the 7-pin on the last time he was on that lane. He just left the 6.
It's hard to say. I don't think he's really made a move. When you leave a solid 7 like that, it's not. You really don't make that big of a move, if anything. I think he just threw that one just a little bit softer than he did the other ones, and it went a little bit high and left the 6-pin.
Yeah, well, I'm sure pressure might have something to do with that. 3 strikes that Rebelott threw.
This is the most exciting tournament, Ted, and believe me, these guys are feeling some of the pressure right now.
Well, I was here for that final match, as you were, the final game in the qualifying, and it was just, there was 10 or 12 people with a chance to make the TV show.
It was very close.
Bob Fitt, 179 in the 7th, spare up in the 8th.
Big shot right there. Bob Fitt can strike out now for a 259, and Gary Rebelott can go all the way for a 255. So right now it's a 14-pin game, and Gary Rebelott is going to have to find a way to strike here on this right lane. This is the lane that he left the 3-6-10 on and missed it. So he's going to have to be very careful here, but yet be aggressive and make a good shot.
If he throws this strike, it's a 4-pin match, I believe.
That's right. He threw it bad again.
Oh, and he knew it too.
It's 2 shots. 2 shots on the right lane. Did he cut the shot off a little bit, Ted? He got a little bit fast with his feet and didn't get through the shot like he normally did on the other ones, and the ball hooked a little bit early on him and went through the nose.
You know, Ron, this is their 13th game of the day, plus all the practice and warm-up. Do you think that could be affecting some of the players?
Well, we do have an older field, Ted. But to be honest, these guys are very excited to be here. They're very pumped up, and I don't think it's going to have an effect on them whatsoever. I think they're just, it might be a case where they're just making a couple bad shots, and you just cannot afford to do it in this type of atmosphere because these bowlers are that good, and they're going to take advantage of your mistakes.
Gary Rebelott up in the 10th frame. Just tilting the 10-pin on that one. He's 184 with a spare in the 9th. A strike in the 10th gives him 204.
He needs a strikeout here, Ted, to force Bob Fitt to spare, which sometimes and get a good count. So sometimes, you know, with that added pressure, you know, you never know what's going to happen in this game of bowling.
I'm sure pressure plays the big part in this game.
A very nice shot.
And a great shot. 234 with this strike is the best Gary Rebelott can get.
Well, count's really important here. He's got to get as many pins as he can. He'd like to throw a strike here, and fortunately Bob's on a strike for him, and if he can just get any spare and get more than 5 on his last ball, then he's going to be the winner of this first match.
Getting 9 on his last ball for 233. Gary Rebelott, 233. Bob Fitt up on the right lane in the 10th frame. 199 in the 9th with the strike working. 199 in the 8th, I'm sorry, with the strike working in the 9th.
Sometimes a spare is the hardest thing to get, Ted, when you need it. So we're going to have to see what Bob does here.
Looks like he makes a good shot on that. Solid in the pocket. The
Picture
1-3
perfect.
pocket.
I think the whole crux of the match, Ted, was in the 5th frame when Gary Rebelott left that 3-6-10 and opened. He had a little bit of pressure put on Bob Fitt, even though he started out with a 5-bagger. But it's back to the same thing, and the young bowlers out there should know that it's most important to pick up your spares. If you don't pick up your spares, you're not going to have a chance.
I'm sure with pressure like this, any kind of an opening, a split or an open, is like disaster when the scores are this high. Bob Fitt throwing another strike in the 11th frame. Can go 259 with this strike to Gary Rebelott's 234.
Well, it's a very big match for Bob Fitt to get right out of the gate, shoot a 259, and he knows the lanes. That's the advantage, I believe, as far as starting where he has. He's got a game under his belt. He knows the lanes very well. And let's not forget, his side isn't getting beat up quite as bad as the right-handers are, because he's the only guy bowling on that side.
So if he messes up that side, it's all due to his fault.
That's exactly right.
Bob Fitt shooting 258, defeating Gary Rebelott 234 in our first match. Coming up next, Bob Fitt will be bowling Billy Gaume.
He's put the pressure on Bill Gaume. Bill Gaume has to answer the call right now. He's down 31 pins, and now he's going to have to do something about it. He's going to have to make the adjustment on this right lane and get things going.
Bill Gaume up on the right lane, lane 22. Bowling for Holland Oil team in the Budweiser League of Masters. Working on a strike, looking for a double.
Oh, real good shot.
Makes a good pressure shot when you need it. Bill Gaume 49 into third with a double working, although Bob Fitt has 40 into second with a three-bagger up.
Bill Gaume, a member of the Summit County and the Tri-County Hall of Fame, so he's been recognized by his peers as being one of the finest bowlers in the Akron area.
A lot of experience out there.
He sure does.
Billy Gaume working on two strikes.
Just a little bit high there.
A little high, leaves the 4-pin.
He threw the ball good, but he just has not been able to put the pressure on Bob Fitt.
The way it looks like here, it just sort of seems the first one to get loose, first one to put the pressure on the other bowler. He's got him down, and it's hard to come away from that.
Well, Bob Fitt, I mean, he's just got the good break so far. He's been steady. He's keeping the ball in the pocket. He's carrying it fairly well, but his opponents now are giving him openings. And whenever you do that, you get that inner feeling that, hey, I can win. And that's what he's doing right now.
Bill Gaume making the spare, 98 in the 5th with the spare up in the 6th. Bob Fitt on our right lane, working on a three-bagger. Our only left-hander in the field. Solid into 1-3 pocket for a strike run. He looks hot.
He sure does. You know, this guy, I mean, he's got 25 300s, and he's used to a lot of pressure. He seems to really have his wits about him. You know, he's very calm. He's got a real good mental game, and that's what it takes to do it over a period of time, and especially in a 4-game pressure-filled match like this is.
It certainly is, but it looks like he's trying to run away and high. Up on the left lane, Bob Fitt. Hitting them a little thin, Ron. Would he get a little careless on that? Or?
Yeah, he was still aggressive, but he got the ball out a little bit, and the ball just didn't have enough roll to get back in time. But he got a real good break and left a very easy conversion spare here with the 3-pin.
Bob Fitt 129 through the 5th with a strike up in the 6th, trying to make a spare in the 7th. Shoots it and converts the 3-pin for Bob Fitt. Nice shot.
Well, at this point, he's up 31 pins, and Bill Gaume is running out of frames. He can strike out for a 238, and Bob Fitt is going at a 229 pace right now.
Well, there you have it. It's not over with yet, but Bill Gaume definitely needs strikes.
Yep.
Solid 10-pin. Wow.
I think that was his best shot. He really got that ball out and was real nice and aggressive, and the ball rolled up and hit the pocket real solid. But that's the part of the game. Whenever you have a round surface ball hitting round pins, Ted, you get these incredible leaves. They look perfect, but they're just not good enough.
Yes, it seems like that's one of the biggest questions I get, too, is how do you carry that 10-pin? You know, if we could answer that, I'm sure you'd be a genius. And
well, we'd be in the instructing right now,
that's
Ted.
true. Making the spare, Bob Fitt.
Now he's put himself in a real hole. He's going to have to strike out right now.
117 in the 6th frame, spare up in the 7th, moving over on our left lane, lane 21. Here at Akron
Well, I tell you, we got a real
Colonial
nice
Lanes.
crowd here tonight, don't we, Ted?
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, what a great turnout. You know, these people, they take their bowling seriously in Akron.
Well, I can't think of a better tournament except for maybe the Firestone Tournament of Champions. So this is just a big event for the area.
Yeah, that's no doubt.
Well,
Bill Gaume going high, leaving the 4-6-7, 4-7-10, I'm sorry.
it's not looking very good for Bill Gaume. He's got to pick this up. Bob Fitt's got to open, and it's looking like looking like Bill's going to have to settle for 4th place.
Well, certainly the game isn't over with yet, but it does look bleak for Bill Gaume. Trying to make this difficult split.
Well, he had to go for it. He gave it everything he had, even though the ball went in the gutter. He had to try to pick that spare up.
141 in the 8th.
It's tough on Billy. I know he wanted to do real well in this tournament and felt like he could win, but we've always got next year.
Yeah, that's true. The way he's going, he'll be going for next year, too. Bob Fitt solid in the 1-3 pocket for a strike in the 7th.
He's just going through the motions right now, just getting it over with, trying to keep his concentration, don't get too fast, and just try to make good shots right now.
Bob Fitt, 169 in the 7th with the strike up in the 8th. Working on the 9th frame. The bowler's bowling for solid 7-pin. But for a man of his experience, I'm sure it's not going to be too much of a problem. Is that right?
Well, he's got the game won, Ted, and when you've got the match won, those don't really matter that much.
He's pretty loose.
He's just got to pick up this spare, and he is the winner.
Our bowlers are bowling for $1,700 in prize fund, Ronnie. That's a lot of bucks for one day's work.
Well, I'll tell you, Ted, when I won the title in 1980, I won $600. So you can see how much it has grown through the years. It just started out with a nice tournament for the guys to get together
It's called
with.
inflation, isn't it?
Yes,
Ron?
yes, it is. And it's just turned out into a real nice event.
Billy Gaume up on the right lane. Throws the strike, rattles him, light on the pocket.
He wants to strike out here, I'm sure. And I know he'd like to get at least a 200 game, and I know he feels awfully bad, but he's going to have to come back next year and prove that he can do it.
Nothing to hang his head about. He's bowled extremely well all week, and
He sure has.
he's having really a great year. He's bowled good with the Akron doubles he won, and he's leading the Budweiser League of Masters with a 228 average. And also Billy bowls on the senior tour, so he goes out there and bumps head with Carmen Salvino and the like. So Dick Weber. So he's doing just fine.
Well, you know, this is his first year of going out there on the seniors tour, and I can remember talking to him a few years ago when he was in his late 40s, itching to get out there, and I know he's going to enjoy it. I know he has made a finals. I think he finished 16th in Texas this year.
That's right.
And he's been bowling very well, and I think we're going to see him on the national TV show here pretty soon.
Well, that'd be great. That would really be great. Bill Gaume up in the 11th frame, trying to throw the strike, rattles it for a turkey. He throws this one more, and he gets 201 for a score. Well, what a great job this Colonial Village Lanes does. Rick Davis and his crew. Tremendous tournament, isn't it?
Well, it's been so good at being a part of this tournament, Ted, and it's run so professionally. That's the nice thing. You know, it takes years to make a tournament run good because there's all those little things that go wrong, and he's just been learning through this whole time, and he's done a great job.
Bill Gaume finishing with a 199. And he'll be in our fourth place finisher. Bob Fitt.
You know, it's just not Rick Davis doing this. You know, there's a lot of people behind the scenes, and a lot of people behind the desk, and the lounge people, and so everybody has a hand in it, and I think that's what makes it so nice.
Leaving a solid 7. No doubt about it, but I'm sure without Rick Davis, this would not have been possible.
There's no doubt.
He's the founder of this tournament, and what a great tournament this is. Bob Fitt up on the right lane, trying to make the 7-pin. He covers it, gives him 208 in the 9th frame with a spare up in the 10th, a 228 possibility. Billy Gaume shooting 199. So this match is over.
Well, with Gary Rebelott out, we're going to have a new champion again this year, Ted. There's only been one one repeat champion, and that was Todd Agee in 1985 and 1987. So again, through all the years that this is bowled, we got a new champion this year.
Bob Fitt leaving a 7-pin for a 227-pin. Our winner of the second match, Bob Fitt over Bill Gaume with a 199 to a 228. Coming up in our third match, Bob Fitt will bowl against Jim Mitchell from Akron, Ohio. Here we go with match number 3. Ronnie Bell doing the broadcast with me here from Colonial Village Lanes. Bob Fitt up on the left lane.
You know, it's very interesting here, Ted. You know, the higher finisher has the option to either start or make the other guy start first. Each guy has let Bob Fitt start first, and he started right out with a strike. You know, I think they would make him start on a different lane just to throw him off a little bit.
You think there's a little psychology there?
There's always psychology in this game, and they're just playing into Bob Fitt's hands, I believe.
Jim Mitchell up on the right lane. Wow, Jim throwing solid in the pocket, leaving the fast 8, Ronnie. That's sort of a bad break to start with.
That sure is. That was a tremendous ball to start out with, a lot of power. He really gets the line real nice, is in that real good position at the bottom of his swing. And even though Jimmy throws the ball a little bit straight, he's got enough roll on the ball to leave those kind of pins.
Jim Mitchell going for the spare, the 4-pin and the 7-pin. Jim's the recreational director at the Akron University. He's been there for 10 years. Makes the spare.
He does a fine job over there at Akron U. He coaches the Akron U bowling team, and he does a lot of good stuff for the recreational part. He's teaches some physical education. So Jim Mitchell, he's in good shape and does a lot of bowling on the side, and is a tremendous competitor.
That Akron U bowling team is ranked nationally, isn't it, in the collegiate ranks?
That's correct, Ted. They've got a real good team there. But, you know, the whole Akron area, I think, is a great bowling town. So I guess I would kind of expect that a little bit.
Well, without a doubt. Jim Mitchell up on the left lane. Second frame working on a spare. There's the ball.
Oh, he got a real good break there, Ted. It looked like he was a little bit off balance there at the line.
Well, he got lucky. He hit him a little light and carried him for a strike, and
sure
that's all
did.
that counts, I guess.
He needs it right now. This Bob Fitt, he's hot.
They don't ever ask you how you throw them. They only ask you how many you got. Is that right?
That's exactly right. You just look at the scoreboard, and if it says a strike, take it.
Bob Fitt up in the second frame, working on a strike in the first. Bob Fitt getting a great break off the kickback, leaving the 6-pin standing, but the pin come off the sideboard and carried it, Ron.
Well, it seems like he's got everything going for him right now. I'll tell you, that's just a tremendous break, and especially if he can back this up with a strike here, Ted, because that's a 20-pin swing. If he leaves a 6-pin, gets a spare, he'd only have 40 in a second, whereas now he can get a 3-bagger and be shooting 2-teen.
Well, when you got it going, you got it going. Bob Fitt in the third frame, working on a double. Solid in the 1-3 pocket for a 3-bagger. Perfect through 3, Bob Fitt.
I think you're going to see the wily veteran here, Jim Mitchell. He's going to try to slow down the pace a little bit. He's going to be taking his time, but he's going to have to answer the call, just like every opponent of Bob Fitt so far. If they don't start striking and put some pressure on Bob Fitt, he's going to run away with this title.
He hasn't really been tested yet all day.
Not at all.
He's just sort of got it in cruise control, and he's going from there. Jim Mitchell up in the third frame, working on a strike in the second. Puts it in his pocket, carrying the 10-pin off that sideboard.
That was just a real nice shot. Came back very nicely after that solid 470 left, and he's got himself a double.
Jim Mitchell, 20 in the first, working on a double in the second and third. He's up on lane 21 here at Colonial Village Lanes.
Jim Mitchell, winner of the Grand Lanes Open in 1984, and is also a member of the Tri-County Hall of Fame. It encompasses Summit, Portage, and Stark counties, and of course, Ted, you just don't get in the Hall of Fame unless you deserve to be there.
Well, that's true. That's quite an honor, I'm sure. Maybe one of these days you and I will see it. I don't know.
It'd be a highlight of my career, that's for sure.
Jimmy Mitchell, working on a double. Solid in the pocket, works the strike. Now, this is the first time Bob Fitt's being tested, I believe.
He's 43 years old, ladies and gentlemen, but this guy is running them out.
He's throwing it like he's 23 years old. Bob Fitt up on lane 22.
Get a chance.
double.
Get a chance at a title like this. It'll make you feel young again. That's for sure.
Bob Fitt doesn't falter even a little bit. He just flushed that one solid into 1-3 pocket.
He's very zeroed in right now. He's got everything going for him. He's on a real good pace, and he's still applying the pressure to Jim Mitchell, and that's what he's been doing to his opponents with a lot of ease, it seems like.
Ron, we've seen him throw 3 games now. He's into his 3rd game. He's only thrown 1 bad shot out of the pocket.
That's right.
So he's sort of zeroed in. He's wired. Oh, he leaves a solid 7-pin on that one.
You notice he got that ball just a little bit wide, Ted, and when you get the ball a little bit wide, it changes the angle as the ball is coming out of the pocket. And when it comes in a little bit wide, it comes behind the head pin, and I think that's why the 4-pin went around the 7-pin.
You got a little deflection there, I'm sure, off of the ball. Bob Fitt moves right to make this spare. Very important at this time. Jimmy Mitchell working on 3. And he converts. Bob Fitt, 89 in the 3rd frame with a strike and a spare. Gives him 109 in the 4th with a spare up in the 5th. Jimmy Mitchell now coming up in the 5th frame, working on 3 in a roll. He's got 20 in the 1st. Jim Mitchell, 14 city titles to his credit. That's a lot of titles.
I don't even think I bowled in 14 city events.
That's right. You gotta be around a little bit to bowl in those. Jim Mitchell getting a great break.
Boy, that was a real nice break there. He was a little bit light to the pocket, but he had enough action and enough roll on that ball to drive those pins.
Jim Mitchell spare in the
and
first.
he got the strike.
The 4-bagger up through the 5th frame. He takes a 1-pin lead. Matter of fact, that's the first time Bob Fitt's been down in this tournament.
Well, we're seeing somebody apply a little bit of pressure, and it makes for an exciting match, I'll tell you.
I'm sure both of these players are used to pressure. They've been bowling a long time, a lot of experience out there. They're good friends in the off the lanes and on.
I'll tell you what, they're not friends right now.
Right.
They're going for a title.
Jim Mitchell, solid for a 5-bagger.
Boy, what a nice ball. I'd like to see that too. You know, Bob Fitt giving Jim Mitchell a little handshake there and congratulating him on a nice shot. That shows a lot of professionalism, I believe.
Always the gentleman.
Now, the first important shot for Bob Fitt.
Bob Fitt comes right back into 1-3 pocket with the strike. He didn't falter on that one at all. He just says, I'll come back and put it on you and see what happens.
Yep, this is a big shot right here, too. Every shot is big, of course, but this one puts him within 1 pin of Jim Mitchell, so, and it keeps him on the strikes. So it's very important for him to be able to cash in here and get another one.
Bob Fitt, 129 through the 5th frame, a strike working in the 6th, going for the double. Carries the 7-pin. That looks like the same shot he almost left the 7-pin on before.
Well, the angle must have been a little bit different there. It looks like he got through that shot real well, and he got the break. I carried it out.
Now he puts the heat back on Jim Mitchell. Jim Mitchell spare up in the 1st, and he's working on a 5-bagger. He's up in the 7th frame. It's a 1-pin game at this point.
I think you've seen most of the right-handers have a little bit of trouble on this right lane, so if he makes a mistake, I think it'll be on this lane.
It's the one Gary Rebelott had problems with. He threw that one. He looked like he got away with something there, Ron. He wasn't too happy with the way it worked out, but the results were great.
Well, he's got the good ball speed for one thing, Ted, and you can get away with that if you can get away with pulling the ball, which I think he did there. If you have the good ball speed, it helps to lay the ball off into the pocket when it's in the oil real quick like that, and I think that's what happened there.
Jim Mitchell working on a 6-bagger up on the left lane. Has an 11-pin lead at this point.
Boy, this much pressure, Ted, and they're just striking away. I tell you, it must be nice.
Oh, this is great. Of course, he's been in the finals 8 times before, 9th place being his best finish. So even if he loses today, he'll do better than he has in the past. Jim Mitchell on the left lane. Rips the 5-pin into the 7, and it doesn't look like he wants to lose today, Ron. Just keeps
I'll
throwing
tell you,
strikes.
that was a tremendous shot there. A lot of power. Just took that 5-pin and threw it right against the 7. But Bob Fitt has just been able to come through every game so far, but now is the most important time. He's going to have to throw these next 2 strikes.
He needs a strike to get within 10 pins or to get within 11 pins of Jim Mitchell. Boy, he carries that 7. He's smooth out there.
We've
He's
got a
cool.
match, Ted. This is exciting.
He's cool. It's an X contest right now.
It sure is. Jim Mitchell shooting, got a 7-bagger along with a spare. Bob Fitt shooting 249 at this point, so it's about 11 pins, like you say, Ted.
Bob Fitt up on the left lane. If he throws this strike, he comes within 1 pin of Jim Mitchell.
Very important shot right here. He's bowled excellent on this lane.
He likes
And he
it.
gets it.
What does look like instant replays of the shot before? It's amazing.
Well, you know, you're sitting on the bench, Ted. You get a spare 7-bagger, and all of a sudden it is not enough. So
That's right.
there's a lot of pressure going on here. The fans are being treated to an exhibition. And
Well, as we said in the opening, we expected some high scores.
we finally got it.
We certainly are getting them. Jim Mitchell up in the 9th frame,
Crucial shot here.
working on a 7-bagger. He's got
Remember,
a
he
spare
pulled
and
this.
7.
He pulled this shot a little bit last time over here. Let's see if he.
Will that go through his mind now?
I don't think so. I think that's out of his mind. He threw a real
He's
good
just-
shot the last
Just
frame.
trying to make a good shot.
That's right.
Gets the kick off the boards and carries the 10-pin for an 8-bagger. Jim Mitchell coming up in the 10th frame now. Ron, he's just neither one of them are going to fold.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's coming down to this. If Jim Mitchell throws a strike and throws a 9 count and gets a spare and Bob Fitt strikes out, we've got a tie. And they're going to go into the 9th and 10th frame roll-off.
In the case of a tie, we bowl a 9th and 10th frame, just like you would in any match, and the one with the most pins after those 2 frames
Yeah, if
will
they-
be determined the winner.
And if they tie again, we do it all
We do
over
it all
again.
over
We could be
again.
here for a while.
So the way they're throwing strikes, we might just do that.
Big shot right here.
Jim Mitchell on the left lane, working on 8 in a row. It's a shot that could have been his best shot of the whole game, Ron.
Boy, that
solid in
was
the
just a
pocket.
beautiful shot. Bob Fitt on the bench, shooting 279 and might not win. So
9 in a row now. Now, if Jimmy Mitchell gets 9 spare,
we
that right?
we have a possible
Bob
tie.
Fitt goes all the way. It's a tie. So this is not over with. Bob Fitt, Jimmy Mitchell could get 8 on this strike, this ball in a spare, and still lose the
He
match.
could lose the match with a 278 game.
That's hard to believe. That's some real serious bowling.
This is a key shot right here. Either Bob Fitt has a chance or he's locked out.
Jim Mitchell carries the ball to strike for 10 in a row. The worst he can do now is 280, so this game is over. Is
That's
that what
right.
you're saying?
This match is all over right now.
Hard to believe.
Well, I'll tell you, what a great game. And
Sitting on the
under the
bench.
pressure.
Sitting on the bench, Bob Fitt saying, well, if I strike out, I can shoot 279, and I'm still 11 pins short.
It's just not quite enough.
Sometimes there is no justice.
There isn't in this case, but you know, you got to give it to Jim Mitchell. He responded in a very professional way and threw the strikes when he had to.
He just bowled a great game. Jim Mitchell, 290. With the final 11 strikes in a row, starting with a spare, leaving the fast 8 in the first frame, and then just striking all the way out from there.
What do you think about Bill Packey right now, Ted?
Well,
You know,
I was going to ask you the same thing, Ron. There he is sitting over there. He sees Jim Mitchell shoot 290, Bob Fitt shooting 258, it looks like. It's hard to believe what's going through his mind.
well, you know, when you look over there, I happened to lead this tournament 3 times, and I lost every time. But, you know, it's tough because you're sitting over there, you're bowling, you're just watching, and you're trying to stay loose, but you just can't do it.
Bob Fitt making the spare. Bob Fitt shoots a series. He shoots like 760, and they're going to send him home.
Well, he's got nothing to be ashamed of.
No, he
Boy,
bowled great.
you just can't bowl any better than he did this game.
He bowled just great.
He left 2 solid 7 pins, and that was it.
And he gets the final strike for 258. Bob Fitt, unfortunately, he loses to Jim Mitchell with a 290. Up next, our final match for the championship round. Jim Mitchell will be bowling against tournament leader Bill Packey.
That was fun. Wow, that was good.
Wow. Okay, here we go, Ronnie, in our final championship match.
Boy, I've been looking forward to this match. We have a real crowd favorite in Bill Packey.
Jim Mitchell will be leading us off.
The tournament leader. This is his moment of glory, possibly. Going against the Tigers. He was 290 his last match.
Boy, that's got to be pretty hard mentally. I'm sure Jimmy will want to come up with a strike to just keep the pressure right on Packey, to keep his mind thinking. Jim Mitchell. In the pocket. That's 12 in a row. That's one of those Andy Varapapa 300s, isn't it?
That's right.
Bill Packey, hearing encouragement from the crowd. He has quite a following with him here today.
Well, I think they're going to be very vocal here if he can get things going.
Bill Packey works at Borey's Bowland. He's been there for 2 years. He's only 22 years old.
This is absolutely the biggest moment in his life.
The fight of his
now.
life, right here. Packey solid in the pocket, carries the 10-pin. He answers the call.
He seems to be very pumped up and wants to win this championship very badly. And I'm looking forward to a real good match here.
Talking with Bill Packey earlier, Ronnie, he says one of his aspirations is to become a professional bowler and bowl on a Pro Bowlers Tour. Well, if he keeps throwing the ball like he has this weekend, he might do just fine at it.
Well, he'll be a welcome addition out there. I tell you, it's just a great proving ground to get out there and do the best you can against the very best in the world. And I'm sure it'd be a real thrill for him.
Well, this would be a big feather in his hat if he makes it. Bill Packey up on the left lane, working on a strike in the second frame. Solid in the pocket, leaves a ringing 10-pin run. What a bad break for this youngster at this point.
Boy, he started out with a strike and threw an excellent shot in the second frame. But again, we talked about earlier, Ted, he seems to throw the ball out a little bit further than the other bowlers, and every once in a while, when that ball gets out too far and it comes a little bit too far back of the head pin, you're going to leave these kind of spares.
A big, strong bowler throwing that powerful strike ball. He's a little different than the other players who are going a little more direct at it. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Trying to make the spare, the 10-pin. Bill Packey covers it.
That's a nice spare. You know, we have had a couple 300 games in this tournament. Rob Sanfrey threw one on Saturday, and Jim Hunt threw a 300 today, and Tom Butcher had a real nice 299 game. So we've had some very high scores this week.
That's some big scores. Plus Jim Mitchell's 290 on the telecast, our last game. Jimmy Mitchell working on a strike in the second frame. Up on lane 22 here at Colonial Village Lanes. Gee, Ronnie, he's just not letting up. He's just going to try and run away and hide with this thing.
Well, this is the nice thing about Jim Mitchell. Not only does he have the angle of the pocket down, but he also has the good ball speed, Ted. And as you know, when you have the correct ball speed, you can get those kind of breaks. They don't have to be perfect shots. They can be light into the pocket. You can get a shot like that where you're driving the 5-pin into the 7. So he's got it all going for him right now.
Do you think that 290 loosened him up a little bit?
It would loosen up most people, that's for sure.
I'm sure. Jim Mitchell on our left lane, lane 21, working on a double in our final championship game of the Akron Open. In the pocket, carries the strike. That's 14 strikes in a row at this point, Ron. He's really, what you might say, on a roll.
He really is. He's locked in.
Bill Packey, the young right-hander and a power player, up on the right lane, working on a spare.
Well, we've talked about it before, Ted. It's very important for Bill Packey now to begin his strikes and to put some pressure on this wily veteran, Jim Mitchell.
Taking his time, concentrating. Throws the ball extremely well. He knew he threw it good for a solid strike. Bill Packey 40 through the second with a strike up into third.
Well, he's 20 pins down right now, Ted, so he's going to have to throw this one.
And cut that lead to 10 pins if he throws this strike. Taking a little extra time there, Ron. He doesn't want to make any mistakes at this point. He knows he left a 10 pin on this lane the last time. And he threw the ball good. I don't think he can really throw it any better.
No, he just wants to take his time and be under control. There's a lot of pressure out there, and he just wants to make sure that he's throwing a good shot.
There he gets the break, hits him a little light, Ron. Carries the strike.
That's that power shot we've been talking about. He throws a lot of ball, a lot of roll. He came in nice and light to the pocket, but drove those pins out. And I believe that's his shot. I think if he can stay a little bit lighter to the pocket, he's going to have a better chance of carrying.
A little stronger ball than most of the rest of the field. Jim Mitchell up on the right lane, working on 3 in a row. He's clean through 3 with all strikes. Leading by 10 pins. Jimmy coming up a little light, rattling that 2-pin. That could have been his worst shot he's thrown all day.
It seemed like he got that shot in a little bit and didn't get the proper lift on the ball. And the ball never had a chance to react and come up to the pocket. But really, he got kind of a break. You know, in a light hit like that, sometimes you can leave the 2, 4, 5, or even leave the bucket. Now he's left himself a very easy spare in the 2-pin.
Got a good count. Now, what does that do for Bill Packey's confidence?
It tells him that he's got an opening here. And,
Puts him right back in the game, doesn't it?
Something that Bob Fitt didn't have.
That's right. He didn't give an opening, and he let him in this time. Jim Mitchell.
So essentially, if Bill Packey can strike on his next ball, he can take the lead, Ted.
Yes, he can. Jim Mitchell up on our left lane. 79 through the third with a spare up in the fourth. Working in the 5th frame of our championship match of the Akron Open, the 1990 $12,000 Akron Open. A lot of prize money they're bowling for.
Boy, that sure is, Ted.
Seems like they're concentrating a little more this game than they were in the past. There's the shot. What a great shot. He certainly made the adjustment on that shot.
He sure did. They threw a real nice shot there. You know, I don't think it's so much the money, Ted. You know, when I won my first PBA title, it wasn't so much the money as it was the thrill of the victory, of spending your life in pursuit of a goal and being able to accomplish it. So I'm sure they're just going to want to hold that trophy and enjoy it.
I can understand what you're saying, but it was a lot of fun spending that money, though, wasn't it, Ron?
You can't spend it unless you've got it.
I know how you are. Bill Packey up on the right lane, working on a double, trying to make this an even match. There's the ball. Solid in the pocket, the 1-3 strike.
Well, I tell you just can't say enough about this young kid. 22 years old, bowling the biggest tournament of his life, the biggest game, and coming through like this. You know, he's really responded very well.
He saw Jimmy Mitchell just come off a 290 game, and he shows no fear whatsoever.
He's not intimidated at all, and that's what it takes to win these kind of games.
I think it is. That has a lot to do with to say about the young bowlers coming up. They're really not afraid of anybody anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I think you'll see, if anybody's going to have a little bit of trouble, I think you'll see it in the later frames. But it's important for Bill Packey right now to get another good shot in.
Bill Packey up on our left lane, 40 through the second, working on a turkey. Trying to stretch his lead to 10 pins. Oh, Ronnie, there's that 10 pin again. It was a solid strike in a 1-3 pocket. But
boy, you just cannot throw the ball any better than that. I guarantee you he's not going to move. He's just going to throw the ball and take his chances. Remember what I said before, Ted. I think it's important because of the strength of Bill Packey's ball. He's going to have to try to keep the ball a little bit lighter to the pocket.
This is an even match at this point. Now, if Bill Packey makes this, the advantage would go to Jim Mitchell. He's working on a strike.
Uh-oh.
He knew it right away. A little pressure on that run.
We've seen it before. We talked about it the first 2 matches, and in a critical time like this, to miss a 10-pin like that,
Now
I can really sympathize with him.
What's going through Jimmy Mitchell's mind right now? He's seen his opponent just throwing in the gutter.
He's looking forward to throwing 2 strikes and just putting the pressure right back on him.
Well, he certainly will. Mitchell up on the right lane, working on a strike. Has a lead of 12 pins, trying to stretch that to 22. Jimmy Mitchell seemed not to throw that ball like he wanted to.
Well, there was a lot of pressure on that shot, but you notice the last 2 shots on lane 22, the ball is going a little bit longer, and I think this is what we talked about earlier, Ted, where now the oil is moving down the lane, and it's starting to affect the shot.
He's not making
the proper adjustment, and he's going to have to maybe make a move on the next ball over there.
Jim Mitchell leaving a 7-pin. Here in the 6th frame. Moves right to cover it. Jim's wife, Rana, is in the Bahamas right now, so she's really not here to root him on. He makes the spare.
Well, if Jimmy can win this, maybe she could stay another week. What do you think, Ted?
I think if he doesn't make this, she might stay another week.
It could be. Well,
Jimmy Mitchell, 119 in the 5th, spare up in the 6th, shooting in the 7th frame.
Jim's kept him in the match right here. Even though Bill Packey missed a spare, he's still only down 12 frames or 12 pins, and they've got 4 frames to go. So
4 frames to go. It's anybody's match. I would think whoever takes charge, shows a little aggression here, might have a little edge. The bowler's really concentrating. They're working real hard out there. Jim Mitchell leaving a solid 10-pin like Bill Packey. Thought he threw it good. Now he'll have to guard against the same mistake that Bill Packey made, I'm sure.
Well, I think Jim has a slight advantage in the spare category. He's a veteran, sure, but like I say, he throws the ball a little bit straighter, keeps it on line, so he can be a little bit more aggressive and not swing it quite as much.
Plus, he's like you said, he's a veteran. He's had these shots before. Jim Mitchell moving left. Shoot the 10-pin in the 7th frame. 138 in the 6th. Spare up in the 7th. Covers the shot, no problem.
Well, it's time for Bill Packey to answer the call here, Ted.
Well, Bill Packey hasn't really made any bad shots. Every ball's been solid in the 1-3 pocket. He just left 2 10-pins and made that one mental error of throwing one in the gutter. So he'll certainly need a strike to get back into this match and get his confidence up.
He's still in this match. There's no doubt about it. He's just got to have to answer the call right now and start striking.
Bill Packey again in a 1-3 pocket. Solid for the strike. He's going to bowl himself right back into this match. He's only down 12 pins.
Well, this is his tough lane over here.
Pins.
He's in the 8th frame, and he's left 2 solid 10 pins on lane 21. And let's don't forget, Ted, he has to finish on that lane. So you know, it could be coming down right to the 10th frame.
And that was by his choice. He has to finish on that lane.
That's right.
And the man in the lead always gets the choice. And he chose to finish on the left lane. Bill Packey up on that left lane right now. He's thrown a strike every ball on lane 22, and he's left 2 10-pins on lane 21. See what happens on this shot. Bill Packey carries the 10-pin, puts him right back into this match. We have a 1-pin game after 7 frames, Ron.
Well, you just can't ask for a more pressure-filled situation right now. Jim Mitchell is on a spare, so he's going to have to start striking right now. Even though he's up a pin, that isn't too much when you're throwing spares up there.
Jim Mitchell, 138 through the 6th, the spare up in the 7th, shooting in the 8th frame.
I'm going to hand it to Bill Packey. He's shown a lot of guts out there and is bowling very well for this pressure.
Now, Jimmy's made 2 bad shots in a row on this right lane. They've both been light. Let's see if he makes the adjustment.
He's going to have to move a little bit right and throw the ball a little bit harder, I think.
Throwing the ball. Gets it light on the head pin, but he still gets the strike. Now Jimmy's going to have to finish on that lane.
Yeah.
Strike in the 8th frame. Moving over to the 9th frame. This is our foundation frame, and right now it's a 1-pin match, Ron, going into the 9th frame.
This is a very big match, but you know, we saw Jim Mitchell last game. It was in the 11th frame. He needed a strike to win the game, and he came through. So this is where Jim Mitchell's going to have to put the pressure on Bill Packey and get a strike and get a foundation frame for the 10th frame.
Reach down in his bag of experience.
If Jim Mitchell strikes out, he can't lose. So he has his own fate in his hands.
That's sort of a good position to be in. Mitchell throwing the ball. Solid in the pocket, leaving that 10-pin again. Boy, that 10-pin's been the nemesis of both players at this point.
Seems like they come at the most unopportune time, and boy, you just cannot throw the ball any better than that. He threw an excellent ball. But the 10-pin has come to hurt these guys.
He'll have to gather himself here, make this 10-pin. He still has a 1-pin lead at this point. So the game, you know, he didn't lose the match on that shot. He just didn't put himself in real good position.
Well, he's left the door open for Bill Packey, and now it's up to Bill Packey to be able to come through in the clutch.
Working hard. Makes the spare.
Well,
Spare in the 9th. 178 in the 8th with a spare up in the 9th for Jim Mitchell. Bill Packey up in the 9th frame, the right lane. He's hit this lane every time he's thrown a strike on it, Ron. He's working on a double. This could be his biggest ball of the match right here.
There's no doubt about it, but he needs 2 strikes to shut Jim Mitchell out.
Bill Packey up in the 9th frame. Lane 22. 127 through the 7th frame. 127 through the 6th frame. Throws the ball. Solid in the pocket for a strike, Ron. What a great shot that was.
It sure was, Ted. I'll tell you. I mean, under this pressure, he was down a little bit there, but he really threw a good shot when he had to, and now he knows in his own mind that this is the whole championship. It all comes down to this 1 frame.
He throws this ball. Bill Packey up on lane 21. Needs this strike to shut out Jim Mitchell and be the Akron Open champion.
This is really exciting. It's such a very important time in his life right now. He's got a chance to be on top of that Akron Open banner, to be considered one of the very best bowlers in the Akron area and get his most prestigious championship.
10th frame. Bill Packey. Running it out solid, rattles him for a strike, and that's the championship.
You notice, Ted, there, he went a little bit lighter to the pocket there. It wasn't so much of a solid shot. A little bit lighter to the pocket, and he carried it, and he's got his first victory. Jim Mitchell
watches on. There's nothing he can do sitting on the bench.
It's got to be a bitter disappointment for Jim Mitchell right now. He bowled so good against Bob Fitt for 290, but when it came time for the championship match, he just couldn't come up with those key strikes when he needed them.
Well, I think he came up with some very good shots, Ron, but he just didn't get the breaks he needed. You know, this game is partly breaks. You got to have those too.
Well, he's got nothing to be ashamed of. He performed very, very well this week, and of course the $1,000 second place check isn't too bad, but I'm sure he wanted that championship.
That'll heal his wound somewhat. Bill Packey, 11th frame. Colonial Village Lanes, our Akron Open champion.
He seems to be pretty excited out there, Ted, but deservedly so. He's finishing up a great game. You know, he opened up there in the 6th frame with the solid 10 and then missed it. But now he's come through with this 5 straight strikes to back up and get his first championship game.
You know, Ron, knowing the rookie that Bill Packey is and bowling well, I don't think he realizes that he's got this match locked out.
I don't think he does either. He's just concentrating on every shot, which, well, he should be doing.
He might be bowling till next week this way. And there it is for 247, Bill Packey, our Akron Open champion. As Jim Mitchell watches on, gets up and says, "Let me throw my balls and get out of here."
Well, there's some of his friends out there, Ted, that we heard in the background, just wishing him well, and he's just got to be so excited right now.
Yeah, he's had some great support here, and there's that 10-pin that Jim Mitchell's been leaving all this whole game. He didn't leave him last game, but this game he certainly left his share of them, that's for sure.
Well, it's the pressure situation again, Ted. You know, sometimes you get a little bit amped up, you're pumped up a little bit, and you tend to throw the ball maybe a little bit harder, and you just don't get the drive on the ball.
Cross lane for the spare, he makes it. With the strike, Jim Mitchell will shoot 217. He'll just try and throw it and get out of Bill Packey's way. He's still sitting there trying to savor this moment. You know, this he'll be thinking about this one for a long time.
Well, that's for sure.
Jim Mitchell throwing the field ball, gets 7 for 214. The final score, Jim Mitchell 214 loses to the winner of the Akron Open, Bill Packey 247. Now we got Rick Davis out there. He's the founder and the leader of this tournament. Ricky's been doing such a great job here today. He congratulates our winner, Gary Rebelott, here with a check for $500, our 5th place finisher. And in our 4th place finisher, we have Billy Gaume with a check for $600. That's not too hard to take for a day's pay, is it, Ron?
Boy, it sure is. And 52 years old, a PBA Senior Tour member. He did a great job this week.
The only left-hander in the field, Bob Fitt, gets $800 for 3rd place. Bull Great, $760 for 3 games.
And then Jim Mitchell, very happy, I'm sure very pleased with his performance this week. It's $1,000.
Well, that's true. That's his highest finish of this tournament, and he's bowled in 8 or 9 of them, so I'm sure he's quite pleased. Maybe a little disappointed at the moment, but...
and now the Crystal Trophy.
Yes, this is Waterford Crystal, too, Ron. This is a beautiful, beautiful trophy, along with a check for $1,700 for our winner, Bill Packey. Rick Davis congratulates them and thanks everybody for coming along. And I'd like to thank you, Ron Bell, too, for helping me out in this broadcast. I'm Ted Malicki. And we hope to see you people all next week, or next year, I should say, for the Akron Open champion.